Hey guys, it's your boy Philip back again, and today I actually bring you a deck profile of the deck that I used yesterday in my first local tournament here in Slovenia, in Škofljica Ljubljana at the store Card Point Škofljica. So big shout outs to those guys. I got second place, so the only player I lost to is the guy that actually won. He played as Oden, and yeah, we played obviously as Doffy, as you can see him all the time on my channel. Here is the deck. So first things first, we have the Doffy leader. This guy is absolutely insane. I love him. In my opinion, he is the best leader in the game currently. Well, not the best, you really have to know how to use him, but I think he is great. Then we obviously have the Don here. Whatever. Okay. So now we'll start with the deck profile. The first things first, we have 4 Perona and we have 4 Law. These are all of our 1-cost units. So you always want to start with Perona, with this card. This card is insane. She does basically everything for your deck, and I really think that you should always try and mulligan for her. She's a really good card and she gets your deck starting. She's your heart and soul of the deck other than your leader here. Then the second one off is your Trafalgar Law. He came in really handy. I think he's a great card and he really helps you keep your units that you play off your Doffy on your field, which is great in my opinion, because you really want your Doffy units to be actually on your field like at all the time, especially the more high value ones like Boa and let's see who else is there. Like Boa, you really want to, then you want Moria, then you want to see Moria stay alive. Most of your 5k guys other than Kuma, and even him, if you don't have a Pacifista in your hand, you want to stay alive. So that's why we play him. Next, these are the only 1 cost obviously of the deck. Next is the only 2 cost of the deck, that's the 4 Alvida. I think she's just a 2k counter. I literally never played her and I would never want to play her. She's a 2k counter and I think she's mandatory in the deck. You really need to have... Sorry. You really need to have a 2k counter, like most of the time you want it, because you want to protect your units, because when you have a lot of units, that's when you win the game. Okay, next we have the only 3 costs in the deck. The blocker Doffy. So basically he does the same thing as this Perona, except he does it for 3 cost and he's a blocker. In my opinion, you really want to see Perona more often, but if not, Doffy is also a solid find. It depends on the rest of your hand. Like if the rest of your hand is good, then you can just play, then you don't need to mulligan for Perona, but if the rest of your hand is average, then I would consider mulliganing for Perona most of the time. So yeah, sorry, the light is a bit funky right now. Now we get to the 4 costs. They are the best cards of your deck and they're the meat and how do they say it? They're the meat and potatoes of your deck. So first we have the Boa, insane card. She has such a huge value. Like she's a blocker, she draws you cards, she does everything. And she will always be a very high priority when she hits the field. So you will really want to try and protect her as long as possible, because she will net you advantage most definitely. She's also 1k counter. All of these units except for the Law are counters, which is also great, and I think this gives the deck some advantage that other decks in the meta currently don't have. So yeah, Boa is great and I wouldn't play any less than 4 of her. Next 4 cost is Moria. In my opinion, the best card to play off Doffy. Better than Boa, better than Kuma. We'll talk about him next. He's insane. He gets you so much advantage. Like if you go Moria, let's say you can pick this Perona back. You can pick Perona back from your trash pile. You can pick back up this Law and play him from your trash pile. And you basically get to do all of this for free. You can get him back if it's later in the game and you have the actual Dawn to play him. You can get yourself a 2k counter Mihawk back. So yeah, Moria is insane and you need to play 4 of him. If you are not, you are doing something wrong. Then obviously we have the 2k Mihawk. So he's a 4 cost 5k block, 5k unit. He has 2k counter, which is really important, which is mostly why he's played. His Dawn ×1 ability really comes up. It can help you fix a lot of your hands. I used it quite a lot as well, because you also want to play him off your Doffy. Like, he is a great unit. You want to play him, but if there are better picks, you can also just leave him and draw him, because he's a 2k counter. He has uses both in the hand and on the field. So yeah. Then the next card we play is for Bartholomew Kuma. This card is weird in my opinion. I love to see him when I have his 3 Pacifistas in my hand. But when I don't have his Pacifistas in my hand, he's just a blocker, which is also obviously not bad, but it's not as good. So like, I would always play this package, but yeah, he isn't as high. Like, if you don't have this guy in your hand, you don't really need to trash cards and commit resources into protecting him if you play him off Doffy. That's what I mean. But definitely do play him because he's insane. Then we have Teach. I play 3 Teach and I think this is the correct number. I wouldn't play any more, nor would I play any less of this Teach. He comes up against specific matchups. His saving grace is that he's a counter as well. Had he not been a counter, I don't think I would have played him. Like, you don't see me running Jinbei in this deck, the 4 cost Jinbei, because, well, he doesn't have a counter values, therefore he isn't useful to me. Like, this guy, you can go in early game. Let's say you're playing against red or green, you can go turn 1, rest Perona, take a look at the top of your deck, stack him on top, because you can probably predict that your opponent will play something. Go next turn, 3 done. Like, no, what am I talking about? So like, it's your turn 2, Perona on turn 1, and you stack the top of your deck. Like, you draw into something, play, let's say, this Kuma right here, draw into something else, and play Moria. So like, your turn would be like, okay, I restand, gain the Dawn, draw, use Doffy ability or use Doffy ability, swing, play him rested. Okay, my opponent will now probably have to deal with him, or so he will like take a swing or something, depends if he destroys it or not. Will I let it go? Doesn't matter really too much at this moment. Then it's your turn again. Your opponent will after that play something like, let's say, Robin, Okiku, a blocker, anything like that. And now you will go draw, put this in your hand, attach 2 under your leader, swing, use ability, summon Teach, bounce something back to his hand, and get the attack through. So you set him back a turn, and you can put a body on your field, and you take some life off of him, because he will most likely not counter for 7k, for 8k. So yeah, this Teach is great, but he also doesn't come up a lot of the times. I must say it like this. Like, I played a mirror match against other Doffy player, and like, this Teach never came up. So yeah, but against red he's great, against green in early game he's great. That's why we play 3 of him, no more, no less, and I think that's correct. Oh, but my bad, sorry guys, shook the camera up a bit. Then we play 2 Virgo. So Virgo is an interesting card. He's obviously not a 7 warlords, which doesn't really matter. But the main thing with Virgo is he's big. He's for 5 cost a 7k unit with a counter, which is very good, but it's so clunky if you see two of him in your hand. Like it happened to me that I've seen two of him like twice in the same day. And like you really don't want to use him as a counter because you want to put up the pressure, but on the other side you don't need two of him. Like I don't know. He's an interesting card. I would still play him, but yeah. Then we have two 7 cost Doflamingos. He's insane. Versus green, he's insane. Bounce back the kid blocker. Bounce the kid blocker. You can bounce back Hawkins. You can bounce back Danjiro if they're playing Oden. Those are like huge targets to bounce. Against red, he kinda sucks. You don't want to give them anything back to hand. Maybe Robin, maybe 5 cost Brook if they're playing it. But 4 cost, my bad. But it depends. And versus blue, he's also pretty solid, yeah. So the only downside of his is that he doesn't have a counter value, so he will a lot of time be sitting as a brick in your hand. Then we have one of the best cards in the deck, in my opinion, and the cards that finishes the games. We have Mihawk. Mihawk is crazy. These cards won me like all the matches that I won yesterday. I won because I played Mihawk into their board. Like he is insane because most of the time you are playing with a huge board advantage because of him. You have a lot of blockers. If you are playing optimally, you also have a lot of hand, so you can allow yourself to play Mihawk once, and that one time that you do play your Mihawk has to be crucial. So I remember yesterday I won versus red by playing a Mihawk and removing their threat. Like, I think the red deck bricked a bit. They had a lot of like 1-2 cost units, but no attackers. So they finally played the 4 cost Brook that gives up to 2 of my characters minus 2k. And I actually and they swung. I took the damage, played Mihawk, put back the Brook, and like dominated the game from that point because they just didn't draw into anything playable. So yeah, Mihawk is great. Also, I played against a green deck. My opponent so he got to 8 Dawn, swung with Kid, played 1 blocker, 1 cost Beige, and played for 7 cost the blocker Kid. The 7 cost one, the big one. So I played Mihawk, put back the Kid back onto his bottom of the deck, took in for some damage, cleared his board, whatever. And then he came back on the turn, played a second blocker, second 7 cost blocker from his hand, and I just Mihawked him again, like two turns in a row, and he was molding. He just surrendered after that. Like, there is no coming back from that. So yeah, Mihawk, insane card. You have to play him. I also tested with like builds with 2 Mihawk and 1 Life Law, like the promo law for 6 cost 7k, that if your opponent has 6 cards or more in their hand, they must add 1 card from their life area to their hand. And he's a good card, but I think this Mihawk is so much stronger because especially versus green, you really want to see him as early as possible. You want to mulligan for him versus green, because once that 8 cost Kid drops, like there is no coming back if you can't like deal with that threat immediately. So yeah, that's why I play 3 of him, and I think that's correct. Then for the events, I play triple overhit. I love this event. This event is so good. Versus green, it's insane. Versus red, it's okay, kind of mediocre, but what can you do? At least it sets them back for some dawn. Versus blue, it's also mid, but green is such a threat that I think this event it's really good. Also, its trigger ability is pretty good as well. Like, you can also overhit defensively. Defensively, what am I talking about? Like, you can play overhit, protect your card, and bounce back your Perona from your board back to your hand, which like sets you up for a follow-up play with Doflamingo, and you take a look at your back of your deck, which is also great. So yeah, I love the utility that overhit gives you. And the last card in the deck is 2 Love Mellow. This card is really good, but I don't know, I perhaps need to do more testing to see if I want to play more of this card, but I think Overheat has higher value for my playstyle personally. So yeah, that's why we only play 2 Mellow and 3 Overheat. I've also tested like 3 Mellow, 3 Overheat, but the Mellow just didn't come up as much than Overheat did. For the matchups, in the first round of the tournament, we played 4 rounds in total. So the first round I played versus the Flamingo mirror match, but his deck wasn't finished, so we took that game quite quickly. Game 2 I played against Kid, like one of my good friends, and we defeated him, but it was a difficult matchup until we came to the late game and I played this Mihawk twice on his 2 blocker 7 cost blocker kids. So yeah, that was insane, and he just rage quit after that. For game 3 we played again versus one of my friends on Red Zoro, and we also took that game quite easily. And the last game we played against a green Oden, and yeah, he defeated me. Like, he outvalued me by a lot. He played really good. He played almost perfectly, I think. I also misplayed. Like, I saw 2 of the blocker laws, a boa and something else, and a Mihawk and something else in my starting hand, and I was like, okay, I was thinking, this is good enough. This is good enough. I will keep this, because we have this for the early game, we have Mihawk for late game, we have this, we can play stuff. But yeah, that in hindsight, that was a big mistake. I don't think we should done that. We should have re-mulliganed for Perona or Doffy. I think that would have given us better win capabilities than we had, better win chances than we had. Yeah, I think that was a mistake, definitely. On my part, I misplayed there. So he also, like I say, he played perfectly. He's constantly surged and like he backed up his 8 cost killer with 8 cost kid with a lot of blockers at all the time and 2k counters. I couldn't get over it, and he just destroyed me. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new from this video. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section below. And I will see you guys on the next video, where I will probably play some more games on the sim. Thanks for watching, and goodbye. Please leave a like and subscribe.